see. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. I don't know if they can hear us yet or not. Yeah. It should be.
See which one I've moved it.
Seeing that the time is 10:30, I call this ICRB board meeting to order. We do not have to take a roll, correct? Oh, we do? Okay. Lorraine, please take the roll.
Senator Champion,
Here.
Representative Davis,
Present.
Senator Eichhorn,
Present.
Senator Farnsworth,
Present.
Senator Housechild,
Here.
Representative Weigel,
Present.
Representative Listcard,
Present.
Representative Scrava. Present. We have 8 members present.
Thank you, Lorraine. With that, I'll move an approval of the March 29th minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chair, to support.
Senator Eichhorn moves the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion fails. We'll move on to commissioners' comments.
Thank you. Welcome everybody to today's meeting of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Board. I would like to provide you with some information about the region, the recent work of our agency and regional initiatives that will be priorities in our coming year. So first off, I would like to thank you all very much for the support that you provided for the many legislatively approved projects in northeastern Minnesota. Our communities, schools, and people will benefit tremendously from the projects included in the bonding bill, the cash bill, and the minerals article of the tax bill. Over 45 projects in the agency's service area received some type of funding, and one of those is Giant Ridge, which will now be able to upgrade its water line and snowmaking infrastructure. The facility is a major economic driver in our region, so thank you to all who advocated for Giants Ridge and for the entire region. As commissioner, one of the areas that I'm committed to is housing, and the regional housing shortage is a critical economic issue. Supply and choice of inventory are currently low and demand is high. And the shortage is not unique to our region and to the state, but it is occurring throughout the state of Minnesota. The need for additional and more choices of housing impacts employers, employees, municipalities, families, school districts, senior citizens, and new and existing residents. Housing surveys, regional leaders, and businesses in the service area have indicated that there is a lack of housing and that it is impacting their ability to attract and retain workers. So what we're finding is that all types of housing are needed: single family homes, apartments, rental units, workforce housing, market rate housing, and senior housing. Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation will be part of this housing shortage solution with a multifaceted approach. The agency's fiscal year 24 budget includes $5 million to fund a new housing grant that cities, townships, counties, nonprofits, and tribal governments may apply for. The grants awarded will assist projects or programs that result in the creation of new housing units or the rehabilitation of existing housing units. In addition to the new housing grants, agency staff will engage regional, public, and private partners, including area employers and local governments, to work towards solutions. The agency will explore state and federal resources to complement our localized strategy and investment. And with the recent state legislature, there's a lot of additional funds for housing. Our agency looks forward to working with communities in northeastern Minnesota to respond in ways that meet the specific needs, decrease the housing shortage, and best serve their businesses and residents. The actions that our region takes to help solve the housing shortage will positively impact people, communities, schools, and the overall economic health of northeastern Minnesota. The next board meeting we are anticipating will be in early August. Lorraine will be contacting the board members by email regarding the date and agenda. And then finally, at today's board meeting, the agency will present the board with 5 business loan projects, 4 community infrastructure projects, and 6 regional trail projects. We will also be presenting the agency's next fiscal year budget that will enable the agency to continue investing in the region's businesses, communities, and workforce.
Thank you, commissioners. Any questions from the board for the commissioner? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, resolution number 23-025. Presenting will be Matt Stover and Scott Sunball.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, members of the board, up next for your consideration are 5 very nice manufacturing projects. They're all bank participation loans. The total agency investment being considered is just shy of $1 million. Scott Sunball will present the first 3 projects, and Ryan Mullich from staff will present the last 2.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, our first loan participation is with Security State Bank of Hibbing in the amount of $420,000 for Reynolds Manufacturing, doing business at Northland Machine in Cohasset, Minnesota. The proceeds of this loan will be used to update aging CNC equipment. Northland Machine was started in a garage on the edge of Grand Rapids in 1980. With 1 employee and 1 machine. And today they sit just on the bluffs of the Mississippi, right on Highway 2 in Cohasset. John Reynolds saw potential in the business and purchased it in December of 21, of which the agency participated with Security State Bank. So this will be the second project the agency will participate in since John has taken ownership. The past loans he has out, the original loans were from $560,000 and $450,000. Current balances are $528,236 and $396,220. All our current payments have been excellent. So the total project investment in this project is $840,000, of which we will be a 50% participant. This project will be completed in 2 phases due to equipment availability. So the first note, we will split 430,000 with Security State, 215 each. And the second note will be 410,000, which will take 205. The loans will be secured by all accounts, inventory equipment. And loans will also have the personal guarantee of John Reynolds. Currently, the company has 23.5 employees or FTEs. They do have positions available. They're willing to hire people if they can find them. It's been a tough deals. And I believe John Reynolds is on the Zoom if there are any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sunwell. Is there any questions from the board? But that would seem like to make a motion.
So move to approve. Resolution 23-025.
Representative Scala moves to pass resolution, 23-0-25. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion fails.
And Mr. Chair, members of the board, our second loan project is a participation loan with Woodland Bank in the amount of $154,000 for Rapid Technologies LLC, also located in Cohasset, Minnesota. Rapid Technologies was started by Ben Daigle in 2020 with a participation loan from Woodland Bank and the agency. And in May of 23, Jim Carlstrom joined Rapid Technologies as a 50% owner. Between the two, they have over 45 years experience in the machining and manufacturing industry. The proceeds of this loan will be used to purchase a new lathe and consolidate the existing loan into one, so it ties the 2 pieces together under the new ownership structure. So this will be the second project with Ben Daigle, but the first since Jim Carlstrom. The past loan was $137,500. Current balance is $89,500. The loan is current with excellent payments. With the proceeds of this loan, the existing loan will be paid in full. And the total investment of this project will be $308,000, of which the agency will be a 50% participant. The loan will be secured by the existing blanket UCC, including the equipment purchase with the proceeds. And the loan will also have the personal guarantees of Ben and Jim Carlstrom. Currently, we basically still consider them a startup. They just have the 2 people working in the garage. They're hoping to hire their first employee later this year. And Ben and Jim are on the Zoom if there are any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sunwell. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll see the motion, pass the resolution, move the resolution.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Seeing Senator Right with the motion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion fails.
And Mr. Chair, members of the board, our third loan project is a participation loan with Security State Bank in the amount of $78,000 for RSF Industries, Inc., doing business as Range Steel Fabricators, located in Inner, Minnesota. RSF was founded over 100 years ago in Hibbing by the Lee family. Probably the most visible project that RSF has completed was the fabricating of the steel that supports the iconic Iron Man statue in Chisholm. RSF was purchased by Gene and Jeff Halter in 2016. Since 2016, the Halters have tripled their workforce to over 25 full-time employees. The proceeds of this loan will be used to purchase a new Genus M560 vertical machine. The machine is critical for making parts for a large customer. And it's also replacing an aging piece of equipment. So this is the fourth project we have participated in with Range Steel. All loans are current, payments history is excellent. The total project cost for this project is $163,500. Security State and the agency will split $156,000 at $78,000 each. And RSF came in with $7,500. Collateral will be all counts, inventory, equipment, including the equipment purchase with the proceeds of this loan. And the loan will also carry the personal guarantee of Gina and Jeff Halter. Like I said, the company currently has 25.5 FTEs with positions available with everyone. And Jeff Halter is in the audience here if there are any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sunball. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing none, Senator Farnsworth moves the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion prevails. Thank you, Sunball.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the next project on the agenda is a $150,000 participation loan to Lampa Manufacturing Inc. A fixture in the community of Tower for over 90 years, Lampa Manufacturing is a leading provider of sauna stoves and wood burning furnaces. Lampa has been manufacturing furnaces in Tower since the 70s. Though the company traces its roots all the way back to the 30s, when Richard Lampa began making sauna stoves for the Finnish settlers of the area. The company is now in its 4th generation of Lampa leadership and has a strong drive to create the cleanest burning wood furnaces and stoves, as it results in less wood burned and cleaner emissions. Proceeds of this $300,000 project, which we'll be participating in with the Entrepreneur Fund, will provide Lampa with working capital to bring several new models to market. The loan funds will assist with the testing, marketing, initial inventory, and staff training on the new models, and will be collateralized by a blanket UCC on accounts receivable, inventory and equipment, and the personal guarantee of Darryl Lampa. This project will retain 15 jobs and will create up to 17 new positions. If there are any questions in the audience, is Mr. Garrett Lampa, CEO of Lampa Manufacturing.
Thank you, Mr. Malich. Is there any questions from the board?
Well,
Senator Nelson.
thank you, Representative Weigel. I had the chance to tour Lampa Manufacturing a couple of months ago, and I know many of you in the room are familiar with them, but they do incredible work. A lot of innovation happening there. And I just have to say this anecdote, we were looking at the shipments that they were doing for their sauna scopes, and it was California, Oregon, Nevada, Florida, Nevada. So we are outsourcing and sending these things to other states. And I just think it's a really testament to our region. And I'm proud to see that they're growing and that we're providing support for them. So I'll applaud them and their work.
Representative Scott.
I too want to give accolades where they're due. They're hiring local people. They're bringing in people that need this technology. They have met and exceeded the federal standards for smoke, which is a big deal in the future. We also have one in my district, Green Tech up in Iron Falls, really in a bigger scale. But the sauna, so just want to make sure everyone understands. Sauna. Yesterday we had. But the fact that they're made here. I mean, this is kind of the whole, what northern Minnesota should be proud of. We take dirt and make steel. We take wood and make products. Now we take steel and we make a product that we sell and we ship all over the country. So any way we can support that. And I know I did speak with Darryl a little bit, and what the commissioner spoke to in the beginning about housing, how important housing is, that we need rural housing, not just, low cost, but stuff that folks can buy into and be part of. And then they have these great jobs and these employers, and it's just going to make us a better place to live for everyone. So I'm hoping that we can keep going in the direction we're going, and I think this is a good use of our resources.
Thank you. Senator Champion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and this is my first meeting here, but I had a chance to visit around. And of course, it's having a history of others that have gone before me. When I read this packet, I don't know this company, but one of the things that I was impressed by is this language in the packet. It says they have a strong drive to create the cleanest burning wood furnace, not because the EPA says they have to, but because it's the right thing to do. And that sort of forward thinking and being committed to what is the right thing to do, in spite of what others say, here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and if I will, just very briefly, particularly for the newer members of the board, just to point out that while we have not directly assisted Lampa in the past, they operate out of a 9,000 square foot building that's owned by the Tower EDA that was made possible with a $1.9 million loan from the agency.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Right, can I ask for a motion to move resolution 23-029? Mr. Chairman. Thank a motion by Senator Hofstadter, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion fails.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the final loan project for your consideration today is a $120,000 participation loan to Activated LLC, doing business at East Dew River Sawmill. East Dew River Sawmill Inc. is a custom sawmill that was formed in 1998 by Conrad and Mary Jacobson. East Dew utilizes local logger supplied raw lumber and saws it into a variety of wood products, including wood timbers, pallet wood, and custom blocking for industrial customers. They also supply wood products to custom builders, contractors, and homeowners. In addition to custom sawing, East Dew also offers kiln drying, planing, milling, sanding, and other customer-specific requests. Proceeds of this $240,000 loan, which we'll be participating in with First National Bank of Gilbert, will go towards the purchase of all of the business assets of East Dew River Sawmill by Activated LLC, and will be collateralized by a blanket UCC on accounts receivable, inventory and equipment, and the personal guarantees of Brody and Kim Kavitsky. If there are any questions with me in the audience, are Mr. and Mrs. Kavitsky.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, Representative Littlegar makes a motion to move resolution 23-029. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion fails. All right, next up will be the fiscal year 23 budget amendment, resolution 23-030. Mr. Scott.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this resolution 23-030, we are asking for an additional $2,321,500 out of the Corpus DJJ Corpus Trust Fund for an additional 4 shovel-ready grant projects that have already been bid out, and the contractors are ready to start digging now. So this isn't the normal practice at this late in the game to ask for an amendment, at this time, being the new budget, which we'll be getting into. But they're ready to move forward, and in order to do so, we're asking for this increase today. And if you approve this, then Chris will be presenting the 4 projects that will be used with this money.
Is there any questions from the board before we start? Representative Scott.
So just to clarify, are you gonna add it to this budget for the next year, or are you adding it to this year's?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Scrabble, it will be added to the 23 budget right now. Yes, in addition, then we'll have the new budget for 24. It's completely separate.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yep.
Trying to figure out where we were. Appreciate it.
Any further questions from the board? I think most of us are going to run up to speed on these. All right, with that, can I have a motion for resolution number 23-030? Seeing Representative Davis, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion fails.
Thank you.
All right, with resolution number 23-031, Mr. Ismail.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I have 4 fiscal year 23 infrastructure projects for your review and recommendation. Total agency investment, $2,355,595. Total project investment, $23,226,163. First project is a development infrastructure project. Spring Lake Township requests amount $950,000. Project consists of infrastructure, site work, and construction of a new 5,150 square foot visitor center and an adjacent construction of an adjacent campground. Spring Lake Township, in partnership with Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources, LCCMR, Voyageurs National Park, and Voyageurs Conservancy, is prepared to begin construction of the visitor center at Crane Lake's entrance to Voyageurs National Park, the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, and Quetico Provincial Park. The township will construct an adjacent public campground and rebuild the access road and public landing at Bayside Drive. Project is expected to create 3 permanent jobs and 60 construction jobs. Second project, community infrastructure, City of Chisholm. Grant request amount $600,000. This is phase 2 infrastructure site work and construction of a new public safety building. Current police and fire facility was built in 1908 and is not equipped to contain the existing vehicles, equipment, and personnel. The new 23,000 square foot public safety facility will house fire, police, and ambulance services. Facility will serve 63 emergency personnel staff and provide service to the city and surrounding townships. Project is expected to create 48 construction jobs. City of Hibbing, grant request amount $400,000. Project consists of renovation and upgrades to 2 buildings that will serve as homeless shelters with a combined 54 units. There currently are no homeless shelter options in Hibbing. The closest location is Bill's house in Virginia, which is limited to 12 beds. The project will serve those that are homeless, families fleeing domestic abuse, and veterans. Staff will provide programs and resources that offer new opportunities to shelter residents. The project is expected to create 28 construction jobs. The final grant request, City of Virginia, $400,000. Project consists of infrastructure and site work with construction of a 4,700 square foot emergency housing fourplex. Each house will have 1 3-bedroom apartment and 1 2-bedroom apartment. Range Traditional Housing will own and operate the shelter complex. The emergency housing will be open to families in need. Project is expected to create 14 construction jobs. I'll entertain any questions at this time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Ismail. And I have one question to start. For the City of Hibbing project, do you know how many jobs they'll be bringing to the community, or is it more volunteers?
That is a good question. Permanent jobs? It's not volunteer based. So AUA will staff and operate that facility. And I don't have an exact number. Last number I heard was 10 that would be dealing with the facility, but I can get an update on exactly what that number is. So no, there'll be paid staff that operate that facility.
The reason I asked is, when we go through these packets, it's always listed, and if I don't see it, that's why I know I need to ask a question. Thank you, Mr. Ismail. Any other questions from the board? Representative Scrowder.
This past session, we passed a bill and I thought I voted for it, I'm pretty sure I did, where we put a lot of money into homeless, to help the homeless people, and shelters included, and I believe there was some for northern part of, a lot for the metro area, but there was some for greater Minnesota in the northern part. I'm just wondering if we have any way to access that to match our 400 with something there to maybe do more than just this. I don't know if you've looked into it yet or anything. Maybe
Mr. Chair, yep, Representative Scrowder, to your question, those funds, I believe, are programming funds that you're speaking to, but I believe that our entities like AUA are accessing those funds to provide services. And so in one of these descriptions, we talked about additional programs programs and support. So the concept that we provide that immediate housing need, emergency housing need, and then we provide resources to transition folks out of the housing units into permanent housing, into, you know, whether it's jobs, education. So I believe those funds you're speaking to are relative to that. This is specific to capital infrastructure
Right.
improvements, which are.
But I thought what we did was for capital, like for homeless shelters, specifically for the building. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
Representative Scrabble, I'll look into that to see.
Yeah.
We don't see that there are matching funds at this time
Okay,
tied to that, specifically on the Virginia project. I believe both of these projects are, the two big partners are St. Louis County and our agency at this point. But that's definitely something we'll look into. Where are those funds? When are they accessible? I think part of the issue with both of these projects are.
you're already there.
Yeah, we're there. The contractors
That's fine.
have been waiting for us to approve this funding to start in Virginia. And to clarify, these are two different types of shelters. The one in Virginia, very family focused, where the need was, we were splitting up the mom with two kids who was splitting a domestic situation. And now we got to take the kids away because it's single units and kids have to go to foster. So this is it's huge. And I assume it'll be very regional. It won't be folks in Virginia. It'll be folks across our tech and assistance that'll utilize that facility. But we'll look into what you're referring to as a fund to make sure our partners know they need to be accessing this additional state funding.
Thank you, Representative Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just add too, but these projects were shovel-ready projects and we need to move on quickly, so we don't really have the time to be. I see your point, but you know, we have the money here now. Let's get these shelters made and start supporting our people on the range. Absolutely. Any further discussion? See no further discussion. Senator Farnsworth, move resolution 23-031. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Thank you, Mr. Esmay. Next on the agenda will be resolution number 23-032. This afternoon will be Mrs. Johnson and Mr. Clark. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Igo, board members. We have 6 regional trail projects before you today. Total agency investment will be $568,655. Total project investment will be $4,866,935. And we have Jim Plummer here today, who manages our regional trail project and grants for our community.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the first grant is to Crow Wing County with a grant amount of $50,000. The grant will assist in developing a new off-highway vehicle trailhead in the city of Emily, which will serve over 400 miles of existing trails in the region. Project also includes 3 miles of hiking trails at the trailhead. The second project is for the city of Ely and a grant amount of $280,000. The grant will assist with the new Ely Regional Trailhead facility. The facility will serve as the trailhead for the David Dill Taconite Snowmobile Trail, Prospectors Loop ATV Trail, and the Masabi Trail. The next grant is to the Friends of Sac-Zim Bog in a grant amount of $55,000. The grant will assist in creating 1 mile of gravel walking trails along the Whiteface River and construct a year-round boardwalk at the Welcome Center. Also included is off-road parking and signage. The next grant is to the city of Evelyn for $43,775. The grant will assist with phase 2 of the Failed Pond Community Trail, which includes reconstructing and rerouting trails on the north and west sides of Failed Pond. The next grant is for Iron Range Tourism Bureau, grant amount of $64,880. The grant will fund the IRTB Small Grants Fund. They work in collaboration with the Northern St. Louis County Trails Task Force to administer these grants. For these grants, the grant cap is $10,000 and requires a 1-to-1 match.
And Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the final grant is to Voyagers Trail Society, Inc. in the, for an amount of $75,000. The grant will assist in purchasing a new 2023 groomer and with repairing and constructing 11 bridges throughout the trail system. Voyagers Trail Society maintains one of the largest snowmobile trail networks in northeast Minnesota.
Thank you, Mr. Plummer. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll look to a motion. A motion that resolution 23-032 be moved. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Thank you. All right, our final item is the one I think we've all been waiting for. Resolution number 23-032. You may proceed, Mr. Shepherd. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I am pleased to announce the fiscal year 24 budget. If you are following with the packet, I am going to start on page 4. The actual budget. So starting with the budget, I will get right into our resources. Current carry forward estimate is 20,143,506. In addition then to our carry forward, we have our taconite production taxes. 26 million. That's based on the 22 production that we received in calendar year 2023 that we reserved then for the fiscal year 24 budget. So as I've mentioned in the past, it's nice that we know what we have in the bank that we can plan to make our. So that's a great thing. Our investment earnings, that is going to run through the State Board of Investment. They handle and post our monthly earnings on all our cash sitting in our appropriations for the agency. So that budget is 3.7 million. Our loan revenues, that's payback of principal and interest on our current loan portfolio. And that's just over 3 million. Facilities revenues, 7.5 million. The majority is Giants Ridge, which I'll talk more about Giants Ridge when we get to that. And we do have a little bit miscellaneous receipts for our office, like lease buildings like Delta Dental and Gilbert. We own that building, stuff like that. Occupation tax, region 3, that is the Carleton and Coochin counties. It's in statute. We just administer as a pass through. We collect the money and then it goes back to them to perpetuate their economic development funds for their counties. 503. And then the DJJ trust amount to 17,769,000. That is to offset then the expenses that we'll talk about. And I like to go through the actual narrative then for the expenditure side of the budget, which I'll start on page 5 then. Our projects. So basically this is our loans and the public works and then the regional trails program. We always try to come to the board for all projects. What we normally do, with the exception, you know, we do have that, the 500,000 for emergency loans that the chair can approve with the commissioner if need be, but at all costs, we try to come to support with everything with the project side. So with that said, development projects, this is for the loans out of the DJJ operating account, 7.5 million. We also have a little extra 1.5 million to be funded from the DJJ Corpus Trust as well. make a $9 million budget. The public works and statutes, it's normally funded out of the TEPF area of our appropriations. 8.5 million for public works infrastructure. And then we do an additional 3.5 million out of the DJJ Corpus Trust. And 2 million of that is earmarked for broadband. And then the rest for the normal infrastructure projects. A regional trails program, we did reduce that down to 2 million now from the 3.5 based on applications, etc. So the total development projects for this year is 23 million for the project side. So page 6, talk about our program grants. Now the budgets are just approved here today for the program side of things. We don't come back to the board for all the grants that we do out of this area of the budget. Now, once you approve it, it's up to the staff then to score everything and to move forward with our grant program. Community development, the commercial redevelopment. We're back to the $1 million that was brought back to the normal capacity. Because, last year was for that, to cover that public safety building that's going to be built. So we're back to normal here. That is, to demo the commercial type buildings to make way for hopefully new development. Residential redevelopment, that's again, back to the 275 level, and that same thing with the Virginia public safety with all that housing when you come into Virginia there. All the homes had to be demoed to make way for the new public safety building. Development partnerships, 1.5 million. This is for planning, research, education, initiative types. We currently have the film incentive in here, Northland Foundation for the SBDC, the Small Business Development. East Range Joint Powers Board. That's the type of things that are funded out of the 1.5. Then we have the BER program, the 1.5 million. And this is, we partner with the AEOA agency. And it's the applications just keep coming in. It's been a great, fantastic program. And that is to provide the energy efficient improvements to the old buildings that are downtown to make way, to bring everything to code. And that's with the additional 500,000 then for the downtown building rehabilitation, which is also with the AEOA to bring business owners to compliance, code compliance for those old buildings. And then our new housing development, the 5 million that the commissioner talked about, which we're all very excited about after all these years having some housing in the budget. So can't wait to see that get off the ground. Workforce development, 450,000. It's just to provide customized training, etc. for the area for the workforce needs. Mine reclamation, 1.1 million. That's just basically for reclaiming and reuse of old mine impacted lands. Example I always like to use is the Lake Oregon in Gilbert, a pit that was changed into a gorgeous beach. It doesn't get any better than that. And this also has a little bit for a drilling incentive program in this budget as well. Page 8, culture and tourism. The Minnesota Discovery Center is also part of this budget just because of the tourism aspect of that program or of the budget. Culture and tourism, 600,000 budgeted for, to support arts, culture, history, etc. for the region. And then the Minnesota Discovery Center is $2,850,000 this year. 1.7 million is for the operating subsidy that we annually give for them to, you know, run the place for the year. $150,000 challenge grant. And this year too, we bumped up to $1 million for the aging building for building capital improvements. Commissioner program, 300,000. This basically goes for emergency situation types for your nonprofits or that type of business, you know, if their roof caved in, we have the capability to have this funding in place to help them immediately. That's the type of stuff that comes out of here. And the final program grant is for grant writing assistance, 30,000. Again, it's to help nonprofits, educational organizations that will pay up to 1/2 of the cost for preparing and applying, you know, for funding from state or federal or private grant. And then the last part is the Region 3. I mentioned the Region 3 Carlton and Couchiching above in the revenues. Well, this is the expense side of it. As I said, we're just the fiscal agent. The 503,704 expense side then gets, you know, expensed out below from the revenues on top. And we would just get back by way of grant to the 2 counties. Page 10, Giants Ridge. Well, we've had 2 different legislation things happen this year for Giants Ridge. The bonding bill, which the first time in history, I believe that we received any money, which is fantastic. It's a shame that we didn't do this project for the water bill sooner because inflation costs, you know, construction has gotten up so high. But we did receive the award, you know, 12.3 million from the bonding bill. But in order to complete the project, in that capital line, the 6.8 million, we also budgeted an additional 4,314,000 to make the difference of the projected project is going to be around 16,614,000. So we can bid this out, get it awarded, and be done. That infrastructure for snowmaking and will be complete then. And also too, during legislation, the 500,000 that you see in the deferred maintenance account line was approved. And what that means, we've been talking for a long time about reinvesting in Giants Ridge in itself. And me and some colleagues have already met with SBI, and it would be the same concept that we have with the DJJ Trust. We will transfer 500,000 a year to SBI, and they'll invest. You know, it's like the stock market, and hopefully watch the gains go higher and higher, and hopefully make Giants Ridge self-sufficient. That's the game plan. It's working well with the DJJ Trust, so we're hoping that this will work too. So that's what the 500,000 deferred maintenance account line means in this budget. So overall, the revenues keep going up. We're having, you know, record attendance, skiing. No, it's just a way that this 500,000 then investing every year and giving to the SBI will hopefully clean up the subsidy eventually. And then they'll be self-sufficient based on and running themselves on their own. And last part of the budget, the operational costs on page 11. This is, you know, our budget to keep the lights on here, pay staff, keep them smiling. Wages and benefits, as of right now, you know, because it's still under negotiations, we did, budget a cost of living for 5% at this time. 6% medical increase is projected through MMB. And it includes a 2.7% increase for dental as well in this number. The other big thing in the payroll is the other payroll cost, the 1,627,000. Of course, that also went through legislation this year. The separation and retention budget for our agency was approved. The commissioner, you know, that's still, she has to approve and create the guidelines for, and that's still underway right now. But that number potentially, it's worst case scenario, is there's 12 eligible people potentially that could go. And, you know, and this does have a sunset now of December 31st of next year of 24. So that's why that big number's in here, but it's just, we have to be covered. So. And then the other normal stuff, you know, just to keep the building going, a little bit more to the Evelyn office. You're gonna see a little remodeling outside. We have a landscape project underway that will be going out for bid. We're potentially talking about a new commons area in the open space. I don't know if you took the tour to see the open space out in the meadow. I don't know, there's just different plans under works, but nothing else. So that's what the little difference is of why things are a little bit higher in some areas, but overall it's flat. So that concludes my presentation, and I will entertain any questions if you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Scuffy. Representative Scott?
You didn't speak to the Minnesota Dental Foundation going from 120 to 0. What is that anyway?
Mr. Scuffy?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, Representative Straba. What happens with that dental program? We do the grant. Last year, the board approved 120,000. That 120,000 is still intact. It's encumbered, it's executed, but it hasn't been tapped yet. And it's still open, you know. What I call it, when the fiscal year our agency is able to certify grants, which that means they can stay in place. And right now, we haven't had no dentists with any applications at this point. So it's still there. The 120 is available. We're just waiting for some action. So at this time for this year's budget, there was no need to budget another 120. You might see it next year. It all depends on if we receive any applications.
Mr. Chair,
Representative Scott?
what is it then? What is the money for?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Scrubba, that is to recruit dentists to the Iron Range. That's all it is. And then, you know, we'll, if Matt. What's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it covers their education cost. New dentists, for new dentists.
Mr. Chair, we're not using it. We talk about it more in public, and if this is being sent somewhere, someone's watching this. Maybe someone will know that if you have a dentist or a family member, that there is money available to help you through your education. So, and as we know in our communities, we are woefully short of dentists.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Carter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering, and this is more of a new member type of question than anything. I'm wondering, as far as the level of oversight that this board will have, for instance, the downtown building rehab is a $500,000 budget. So say the city of Virginia needs $50,000, that will come before the board, right? Or are we approving this and then the agency just gets to decide how those funds are spent?
Mr. Scuffy?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Senator Farnsworth, yes, that part of the budget, you're approving the 500. Then it's up to agency staff, you know, to score everything and to work with AEOA to make sure it's a viable project. So no, that does not come back to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess my follow-up, in the December board meeting, the board approved $243,000 to a entity that is actively opposed to mining, to heavy industry in our area. And so I'm wondering, is there some sort of in the scoring mechanism, something that would say we're going to stop giving money to organizations that are actively opposed to economic development in the Taconite Relief area? And I'm referring to the Leech Lake Band. They almost single-handedly killed the Huber project. And so I would prefer for us not to give mining money to organizations that are actively opposed to our way of life.
Mr. Shelby?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to give that question to the commission.
Okay, thank you, Chair Agnew. Senator Farnsworth. So as an economic development agency, that the mission of our agency for over 80 years has been to diversify the Taconite assistance area. We are a state agency that has to follow guidelines and rules according to the state. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that is a guideline that we could put into place as to political views or when we're looking at projects and our staff is looking at projects, those program guidelines are set up and they're reviewing the project at hand and scoring that as to whether it makes sense in terms of either the business energy retrofit program or the economic diversity or the jobs.
Senator Farnsworth?
Thank you. That's all.
Any further discussion? I just want to make a closing comment. I think I speak to most of the board to how excited we are about the housing development for the 5 million. I think there's a lot of work that the agency in this room here and you, Commissioner, by taking this initiative. I think we're all really excited to see what you do with it and happy to support it here today. So with that, would someone like to make a motion to move the budget resolution? So motion by Representative Lissigar. All those in favor, please by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Yes,
Thank you.
all right, with that, we've wrapped up the agenda. I just want to close and again say thank you to all the staff in this room that worked together to bring all these resolutions today, especially this budget resolution. Required a lot of work. Thank you to you, Commissioner. I've got a lot of time not only talking to myself, but many members of this board to make sure we got it done right. I thank you. It's really good. I also want to recognize we have a past board member in the room. Representative Lewis is here, so I want to give him a little due. So
Stay away.
thank you again, the agency itself, for all your hard work, and to our staff that are with us today for this wonderful tour that the agency put together for us. It's greatly appreciated. With that, is there any other questions or comments from any members of the board or the commissioner? Seeing none, I'll move to adjourn the meeting at 11:25. Second.